gotta love it, right? And I want to encourage the single women that are here this morning to be a wall. And as a dad, I'm going to say, be a brick wall. Learn how to say no. A woman who's a wall is a woman who's aware of the meticulous manipulation that boys sometimes bring into relationships. And if and when a boy like that gets introduced to her, she's not gonna fall into that. She's not going to be taken in. She's going to be a wall, and she's going to wait for a man who will love and honor and respect and cherish her as he would love, honor, and cherish himself. But there's another kind of woman that the brothers talk about, and that is the woman who is a door. And when a woman is a door, every boy who asks for her number gets it. Every Facebook friend request gets accepted. Every invitation for a date is a yes. In other words, oh sorry, I missed one. And every guy who flirts with her gets her reaction. In other words, every boy who knocks gets in. And parents, your daughter will either be a wall or a door. And I appreciate the way a pastor named Mark Driscoll from Seattle issues a caution here. He says this: if your daughter is a door, the last thing you do, parents, is give her a cell phone and a laptop for her room that's all her own. That's just encouraging boys to keep knocking on the digital door and to have access to the young lady. So the woman's brothers consider these two options, and they say, if our sister is a wall, which we hope, right, that's emphasized through building towers of silver on her. If our sister is a wall, oh, we hope she's going to be a wall, right? If our sister is a wall, we'll help defend her. She can tell boys no, and they won't have access to her, and we will support her when she does. Literally, we will build towers on her. In other words, we're going to be on the lookout for creeps and perverts and anyone who's going to treat our sister with any less respect and dignity than she deserves. Good brothers. On the flip side, they say, if she's a door, we're going to Rona, we're going to get wood, and we're going to board the doorway up. In other words, we're going to stand guard for our sister, whether she knows it or not, and all the boys coming to call on her they're going to have to get through us first. And our gun, and our dog, and any other precaution that we need to put in place so that our sister isn't taken advantage of. Good brothers. Are they being overprotective? Perhaps. But how could they not be? You see, there's something we learned in our Warrior series, men, last June. There's something in the heart of a man that wants a cause to fight for, a cause that's worthy to fight for, and fighting for the dignity and the honor of our sisters is such a cause. Brothers have a responsibility in the sight of God to love their sisters and to look out for their sisters' best interests. I tell this to my son Eric all the time. And I tried to think of a contemporary example to illustrate this, something from a movie or television. I even asked around, but unfortunately I couldn't come up with a contemporary example. The most recent example I came up with comes from my childhood, which is a little embarrassing. When I was a kid, there was a family television show called The Dukes of Hazzard. Anybody? You've all heard of it if you haven't seen it. There was a movie that came out. It never measured up to the actual show. But in that show, if you diss Daisy Duke, you got to deal with Bo and Luke. Right? Her brothers. If you diss Daisy, there's going to be something going to go down. And I'm not saying, brothers, that you got to physically fight for your sister. At least, probably not. That's not what it's going to look like 99 times out of 100. But it's going to be building her up. It's going to be affirming her worth. It's going to be just blessing her and telling her that if there is a guy who's going to treat her with less than she deserves, just how incredible she is, and you believe she's going to make the best choice. That's what it looks like. And tragically, this concept is missing from our contemporary society. And brothers, we got to not let individualism wreck the family home. It's not enough that you're a responsible young man and that you just look out for number one, that you look out for yourself and you go to school and you get a university degree and you get a job and yada, yada, yada. That's individualism. And that's taking care of yourself. You have a responsibility to your family, to your parents, and to your sisters, as I've been emphasizing this morning. Well, the sister responds to the brothers in verse 10, and she begins by saying, I am a wall, and my breasts are like towers. In other words, she's saying that when she was a young girl, she was a wall, and now that she's a woman, a young woman, she's made a decision to continue being a wall. Did I emphasize the word decision enough? Girls, it takes a decision on your part. You don't wander into wall territory. It doesn't happen happenstance. It requires a decision on your part. And so, girls, I would say it's time to decide today. You need to say, I am a wall, and I will continue to be a wall. I'm not going to go boy crazy. I'm not going to be known in my school or in my community as being this major flirt. I will develop the kind of reputation of myself that I can be proud of today and tomorrow and for the rest of my life. And by developing a great reputation that I can be proud of, I'll probably attract the kind of young man who also has a great reputation. And maybe you're listening this morning and you're seeing some wisdom here. Perhaps this comparison between a wall and a door is impacting you. Perhaps you recognize that you made some poor choices to be a door, either presently or in the past. Choices that have led you to misuse the gift of sexuality in a sinful way, through flirtations or well beyond that. And I would encourage you just to get alone with God and to seek His forgiveness. You know, we humans are so funny. We categorize sin, right? We kind of put sin in two main categories as I see it. There are the big sins and the little sins. And here's how our categorizations play out. I'm being Daryl here, right? Well, that's not really a sin, right? That's too small to worry about. I don't need to take that to God. He's not going to care. Or, man, I really messed up this time. I don't think God could forgive me for something like this. And there's a problem with this thinking. If we conclude that 3/4 of our sins are too small to bring to God and 1/4 of our sins are too big for God to forgive, then we end up having very few conversations with God, don't we? We never take anything to God. And how does that work in your relationship? If what's weighing on your heart isn't something that you share with your spouse, or if you're a kid with your parents, or if you're dating with your fiancé or girlfriend or boyfriend, if you don't share what's weighing on your heart, what happens to your relationship? It deteriorates. And some of you here this morning have a deteriorated relationship with God because you haven't been conversing with Him. Because you've categorized your sin into the too small to give a second thought, or the too big to actually believe that God can actually remove the weight, the burden of dealing with that through your life.